In this video, I'm going to show you the simple method we use to build offers that are irresistible and sell themselves. If you don't know who I am, my name is Charlie Bennett. I run a 30k a month client acquisition agency. I also run Wealth Builders, which is our one-to-one and group coaching business. And we've helped our clients generate over $10 million in sales over the last couple of years. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to explain to you, firstly, what people misunderstand about offers, but then I'm going to show you step by step how to build an offer that you can basically guarantee will sell. And there is a science behind this. So let me switch over to my other screen and I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to start by looking at what most people get wrong with offers. Okay, this is a good place to start because this is what I see probably 90% of people that either join our agency or our coaching program. This is where they get stuck. Most people are struggling with basically to get clients. That's clearly the main issue. They're struggling to get clients. They're relying too heavily on referrals. They're relying too heavily on inbound stuff. And the reason for that is because they don't have resonance in the market with their offer. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So most people confuse offers with deliverables. And this sentence is a perfect example of that. So majority of offers, if you go onto like LinkedIn or Twitter, the offers you're going to see on there from agencies, solopreneurs, creators are going to look exactly like this. It will be I help market do thing by service deliverable. So if you put that in an actual sentence with an offer, so ghostwriting, for example, it'd be I help busy founders build a personal brand by writing content that gets leads. Now, what is it actually saying? Let's break that down because it's not offering anything. It's just telling you what they're going to do. I help busy founders. Firstly, busy founders isn't a market. It's it is a job title. It's not a market in itself. And we're going to look at markets in a second. Secondly, build a personal brand. Okay, cool. You're telling them what you're going to do. That's the thing you're going to do. And then by writing content that gets leads, well, that's the deliverable. That's the how. So you're basically saying to somebody, I'm going to do this and here's how I'm going to do it. There's no offer in there. There's no incentive. There's no desire to get people to click. There's no reason for people to hire you from that. So people do not buy deliverables fundamentally. They buy outcomes. And to do that, to get the outcome, to understand what the people want, first you need to look at the market. So we're going to have a little look at how we look at that. So this is the first thing you need to look at. This is the TAM, which stands for Total Addressable Market. So what a TAM is the total number of people or businesses who can buy the thing you're selling. So literally this is the size of the market. And why it's important to have the right size of market will become fairly obvious in a second. If the market's too small, there's not enough people to sell to. If the market's too big and too broad, then you cannot charge high ticket fees for it because you can't be specific enough about the problems you're solving. So what you want to do is find that kind of middle ground that is perfect between usually 30 and 100,000 businesses within the US. And we look at US data because US data is extremely accurate. They do labor surveys multiple times every year. It's literally free to Google. You can quite literally Google this stuff and find the information on there. So it's very easy, very accessible for people to look at. So some examples of what I mean by too broad and too small. So too broad would be we help marketing agencies, right? There are hundreds of thousands of marketing agencies in the US. You can't possibly help them all, okay? That's way too broad. A perfect example would be we help Web3 marketing agencies, right? You're taking that very broad sector and you're kind of narrowing it down a little bit to Web3. Now, I guarantee you there are between 30 and 100,000 Web3 agencies within the US. Maybe slightly more, but it's going to be pretty much within that banding. Now, what would be too small would be Web3 marketing agencies specializing on Ethereum-based projects, right? You're going to have way less than 30,000 people. And it's just simply not a big enough market to serve. You need to have enough of a market that you and competitors can all make a good chunk of cash in there, right? If it's too big, you're not going to be able to charge enough. If it's too small, you're not going to have enough clients. That middle ground is really important. And so this is where we start. Once we understand our market and we know exactly who we're helping, well, then we need to find the desires. So finding pre-existing desires, this is kind of the crux of offer building. If you know what people want, and then you can give it to them. It's kind of as simple as that. So, but the thing to really remember here is we're not creating desires. We're not magicking them out of thin air. We're not thinking about them. We're not making desires up effectively. We are finding them using cold, hard data. And so the way we do that is we look at sources like Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Reddit, and we're looking at the questions that people are asking. Reddit is phenomenal for this. You can go onto like a marketing subreddit and see what actual owners of marketing agencies are struggling with, what questions they're asking will give you an idea of what they want. So what you need to do is find all these answers and then ask yourself, what would 80% of my market say they want the most? That's the key question to ask. You'll get some really interesting answers. Things like, for us, for example, for our business, it will be, I want more qualified book calls in my calendar. I want more higher paying clients. I want to retain my clients for longer. Comes out of money, unsurprisingly. But these are really important because when you have these desires, you can build an offer that matches that desire and gives them what they want. Okay. Other really good ways of getting this data is with client interviews. So if you already have clients, go and speak to them, ask them these questions. They will probably tell you what they're struggling with. It's really useful and it's a great excuse to check in with people. Other thing to do as well is free research calls. So I do this a lot. I've got a big Twitter audience, big LinkedIn audience, big email list. And, I will regularly say to people, I will give you 10 minutes of my time. You can ask me any question you want regarding, client acquisition, getting clients, running content, whatever. In return, I want to ask you 5 or 10 questions. And I do that. Firstly, I can give back, I can help. But more importantly, I get actual data of what my market is struggling with. Okay, that is really key. And on that note, before we move on, I do have an exclusive email list. I send emails every day with information like this, and you get the first view of stuff before it releases. So if you want to sign up, there's a link in the description below. There's also a bonus thing that you can get with that, which is the 5 lead gen strategies we are using in our own business at the moment to scale to 100K a month. We've done 0 to 30K in the last 3 months, and we're going to go to 100K by the end of the year. Everything we're doing is in the description below. So moving on. Next thing is crafting the offer. So now we have these desires, we can look at putting it all together effectively. So a good offer is going to take this sort of structure. It's going to be, we help the market. That's the market you've already found and discovered. Get dream outcome. We've already found the dream outcome. We've already asked the questions in time frame or risk reversal. So we have the market, we have the dream outcome. Let's talk about time frame and risk reversal first. So timeframes are really important because otherwise it's quite literally open-ended. People want to know that they're going to get a result in a certain amount of time. That's how you calculate a return on investment. They're not just going to give you money if there's no guarantee that they're going to actually get something back from it. And a time frame gives you almost like a post to aim for, like some sort of backstop that they just know within which range they're going to get results. Okay, it quantifies things, it makes it more real, it makes it easy to understand. And the second one is a risk reversal. So it's fairly obvious. If you can reduce risk as much as possible on a client, then they're more likely to give you money. If there's less risk, then if they get their money back at the end of the day, then they're like, okay, just give it a go. So I'll use a real example. This is one that we've used in our own business. We help Web3 marketing agencies get 30 qualified booked calls in 90 days, or they don't pay a cent. So what that literally is we found the market, Web3 marketing agencies, and we know that's a sizable market, it's perfect size. Get 30 qualified book calls. Again, we put a number on there. We need to have some sort of, quantifiable number. And from our research, qualified book calls is one of the number one issues. In 90 days, again, we're giving a time frame. It's not too long, it's not too short, gives us enough time to actually deliver that. And if we don't deliver it, they pay nothing. Okay, this is a perfect offer. This prints money. We've made a lot of money with it. We have other people that we know that have made a lot of money with it. Some of our clients make money with exactly this. This is how we build offers that work every time and time again. Okay, but let's look at the maths of how it works, and it will become even more obvious. So say your client has a $20,000 offer, and a lot of marketing agencies will, they'll have 20, 30, 40K sometimes. These offers, they make a lot of money. And if they're closing, say, 20% of those 30 calls, that's 6 clients, okay? $20,000 offer times 6 clients is $120,000 revenue, okay? They will give you 15 to 20K to make 120K back. It's an investment, right? If a client literally pays you 20K and they get 120K back, that's a great investment. You've already reduced that risk down, because if you don't hit that, then they get their money back. Like, it's a no-brainer offer. This is how you start charging $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month, like easily, without people questioning it. You obviously need proof, you need case studies, but this is how you position it, this is how you frame it. Okay, but there are some stipulations. So we obviously want to make sure that we're hitting these guarantees. We don't want to be just making bold promises without bold standards. This is the key. You only make bold promises if you have bold standards. So the goal here isn't to make it hard for our clients to get their money back if we fail. Okay, if we don't hit our if we don't hit what we're saying we're going to do, we don't hit the guarantee, and they've done everything, like they've done reasonable stipulations, then you get your money back. Absolutely fine. We haven't done our job. Thankfully, that's never happened, but a large part of that is because of stipulations like this. The goal that they make it hard to fail effectively. You're not trying to make it hard for them to get their money back. You're making it hard to fail. And the reason it's hard to fail is because if you have certain, standards in place, the clients will engage better. So for example, here's some that we use in our own business. So we are doing client acquisition. We're doing lead generation. We're booking calls in their diary. We make clients attend every single call. Okay, if they're not attending every call, they're not going to make money. They're not going to sign those clients. That's not good for us. Okay, it's accountability. So they have to attend every call. They have to record every call and share it for feedback. So why do we do that? We want to make sure that they are implementing the advice we give them. At the end of the day, clients come to us because they're struggling to make sales. They're struggling to get money. So they need to take our advice. They need to take it on board, and they need to do what we're saying. If they don't do that, then they're not going to get results. It's as simple as that. So this adds proof of implementation. It shows that they're doing the job, doing what we're asking them to do. If they're not doing that, then we can tweak them. We can say, hey guys, try this, try that. Again, the goal behind this is to get results for your clients, to help them get better results. Because if you get better results, then you don't have to pay them back if you meet the guarantee, because you'll literally hit the guarantee. Okay. So the reason we do this, and at the end of the day, it comes down to this. It's the win-win guarantee flywheel. So if a client follows the rules, they get results. If you get results, then you hit your target. If you hit your target, you don't have to give any money back, and the client makes lots of money. It is literally a win-win. And when you get in this position where the client's making lots of money, you're hitting your targets, they don't just work with you once and stop. They work with you over and over and over again. And so what happens is one client, they don't churn. They stay with you. They work with you for a year, 2, 3 years. And we've had clients that work with us for a very long time because we continue to get results for them, because they continue to grow with us as well. They improve their sales technique, which means that the clients we're putting in front of them, the leads we're putting in front of them, they're making money from, which means everyone wins. And that, at the end of the day, is why we're building these offers, because we want everyone to make money. So that is how we put together offers that sell themselves. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe down below. Join my newsletter, as I mentioned before. You'll get a lot of value from that, I promise. I send messages every day, and they're full of good stuff. So if you've enjoyed this, then give it a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I will see you in the next video.